If I would have been Moses, I would have been like looking out or like,
Humans don't like things that they do in other people, but they be doing it. What's up? Welcome to Rafi and Ralphy, the podcast. I'm Ralphy,
hey, I'm Rafi.
and this is the podcast. Welcome. So today we're gonna have some fun, and we hope you enjoy yourselves too. I'll quickly tell you about myself, and then oh my goodness, I'll tell you about myself, and then Rafi will tell you about himself. Oh no, we'll let you go first. Go ahead.
Well, this is like we say in Spanish, tocayo.
And that means?
That means that we have the same name, kind of.
Yeah. Okay, I agree.
Yeah.
It's better that. So tell us about you.
I come from New York. Been to the Adventist since 1996. Yeah, I have written some books in Spanish, trying to do it in English. But first, I need to improve my English language. I have a beautiful, lovely wife that she's an English teacher. Every time that I say something incorrectly, she correct me. And also my brother-in-law, Ralph. Also, when I say something incorrectly in English, he said, "This is the way you say it." So thank you. So yeah.
I don't ever want him sounding crazy in public. This is why I do it. I don't know what
That's
her
the best
motivation
thing,
is.
to sound crazy, sound unique.
Yeah, no. No. Sounding crazy isn't always the best thing. Is there anything else you want to share? Anything that you're interested in, like your hobbies? Because we want people to get to know the person
Well, I
as
love
well.
writing, obviously on my native language,
Which is,
Spanish,
there we go.
and I like reading. I like to play video games, and yes, I play video games.
It's normal now. Back in the day, it would have been like,
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Okay. Anything
Yeah.
else? Or are you good?
I'm good. I think that's so far. Yeah.
Okay, so my name is Ralph, and I am married to his wife's sister. I got married first, though.
Yeah.
Taking the credit. Just kidding. And then we have two kids, Lucas and Nathan, and they're great kiddos. My wife is great too. Obviously, I wouldn't have married her if she wasn't. And then I like to play video games as well, but it's much harder to do as an adult. No, you just got so much going
Instead
on.
with kids.
Well, yeah, yeah. I mean, I used to when I first. Side note: when I first had kids, I, I would want to play games sometimes, and they'd be like, "Papa," I'll look at them like, "I love you so much, but I just need a break." It's so funny. Now I don't even like. There's no competition because just so you know, I'm a selfish individual who's becoming less selfish because that's just been my lot in life. But anyway, yeah, I'm into sports, basketball specifically, and like high level soccer, football, as they say. So not necessarily regular MLS, even though Messi is now on Miami.
I mean, yeah.
All right. But I like watching the World Cup a lot. I like watching the Premier League when I get a chance. It's very hard over here, especially when you don't want to spend money for it. On top of your expensive cable bill or YouTube TV bill. Anyway, that's a little bit about us. And now we're going to go to, wait for me to find the app. One of my favorite topics. What annoys us about church/church people?
Oh my gosh. I can write a book almost the size of the Bible.
66 books of what I don't like about people at church.
Yeah.
So, do you want to start? Anything come to mind, or shall I?
You can start. Because I have so many stuff that I don't like about. Yeah.
This is about to be a really long segment.
But I only mentioned like few of them.
Okay. This is like, we as in the viewers, myself, we want to know what really annoys you, not little things. We can get to those later. Like the things that just like low key piss you off. You know what I'm saying? Yes, you can say that as a Christian. At least if you're like not a judgy Christian.
Man, I'm already judging myself. I'm like, man, am I? I'm going to hell for this stuff.
So that's my first thing. I don't like judgy Christians at all. Like one thing that my boss at work says is she's awesome. She always gives good advice. She's like, afford grace. She's always like saying things like that and giving people more grace. And I'm like, all right, fine, I'll do it because I think I'm judgy, and that's why I don't like judgy people. Because how ironic, right? We don't like humans don't like things that they do in other people, but they be doing it. Like that's so like I don't like judgy people, so I am, and I try to be very like a new age Seventh Day Adventist hippie kind of Christian because I don't think the traditional way is the right way at all. I think it was for its time, and times have changed, and so when you say the same things, don't work. Like your ministry fails. Like, so I don't like judgy people. They just bother me and they're annoying and they give this is gonna be a title of a YouTube video in the future, coming soon hopefully, is You Give God a Bad Name, and it's a play on You Give Love a Bad Name by John Bon Jovi. You give God a bad name. That's like the concept.
Oh,
Anyway, so judgy people, don't like them.
okay.
Excuse me, judgy Christians, don't like them.
Okay. My turn?
Go. Yeah, we'll go one by one. We'll bounce back
Okay.
and forth.
I don't like those preachers that they go in there and they start asking questions. So how much time do I have? I said they be preaching like for an hour. And yeah, I don't like those preachers.
Why? Because they actually just don't
Because you
care,
already
or
know exactly how many times you have to preach. At least when I used to be a first elder in my church, every time that I invite someone, say, how much time do you need?
yeah, because that makes sense.
Yeah, and 'cause I know a lot of people that they will start preaching or they start talking for 30 minutes and they say, okay, now let's start with the sermon. Let's pray. I'll be like the rock. I will put my eyebrow like, what? So I don't like that.
Yeah, because then you're sitting there like, okay, I didn't sign up for this long service.
Yeah.
I thought we were gonna be at lunch by now. I am hungry.
Yep, yep.
Yeah, it's not funny when preachers like to do that. Oh yeah, I'm closing soon, but they're not.
They like,
Oh my god.
and to close. Oh, but let me tell you something. And then they go like, I used to get up and just,
Walk out.
yeah.
So I'm trying to be myself, right? But man, some of the thoughts I have. So this is a thought that I don't know if it's Christian. Let me know in the comments. But once I have a little bit of doubt, I'm thinking it's not a Christian thought. But I'm just like, do you not have friends? Like, obviously, this can't be the only time that you talk to people.
Yeah.
Why are you talking so long? Get it together and sit out. Like, if you had friends, you would know when to be quiet because they would tell you. So it makes me think a lot of preachers don't have friends. They go, "Oh, this is my time to shine." Like, no. This is time for God to speak, and you should be quiet.
Yeah.
But I was a preacher, so I have an inside scoop. So please, I was that guy one time, but then I realized I don't like preaching long because one, I think it's boring. I think it makes it about the person versus God, and I know that our generation has a short attention span. This was pre-TikTok. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
This is like 2006, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, whatever. I was preaching a bunch, and I'm like, man, 30 minutes is like 30, 45, solid. After that, you just, what's going on? Unless the spirit is moving, there's no reason for you to be yapping.
There's some preachers that they start preaching and like it get me so involved. They could preach for hours. And I'm
Oh,
like,
yeah.
oh wait, no, this is good.
Yeah, because it's like a movie.
Yeah.
They bring you in, they draw you in. I love a good sermon. Like my favorite part of church. Okay, we shouldn't go to the positives yet. Still on the hate.
Okay.
Still on the hate rate. So that was me. That was you.
That was me. Yeah, your turn now.
And what was it again? So I can remember.
When preachers, they have
yes.
long sermon and
Yeah, no. In addition to that, like piggybacking on that is long prayers. I know you hate that. I hate that. Why do you think it is okay to hold someone hostage in your prayer? Who do you think you are? Like, I don't like that, bro. Like, yeah, like, keep your long prayers, your personal prayers, like with God at home,
Yeah.
with your family, by yourself. Like, it shouldn't necessarily be something that unless, once again, unless the Spirit is leading, which isn't always the case in church.
There are people in churches they're like a fire when they praying.
They're like a fire.
A fire.
Tell me more.
And every time they hear an amen, it's like you putting wood in the fire. And that's when they keep going and going. You say amen.
Oh, you like
What?
that? Oh, I
Yeah.
got another one.
And that's, yeah.
Oh,
And you
church
already
people.
say, I don't. Like in my church, when I already knew who preached long and who preached. Every time, that I saw that one of the person that preached long, pray long, was going to pray, I'd be like, no, I'm a deacon. I'm going to stay standing. I'm not going on my knees. Or I'll just go out.
Yeah, nah, I don't want to be a hostage to your worship.
Yeah.
It doesn't feel right. I feel like it just seems wrong. Anyway, so it's my turn. Things I don't like at church. So I became a Seventh Adventist like when I was 16. I think it's 2003, 2004, or something like that. I don't remember. Or two. I don't know. The point is this. I've seen church folk, I guess this is a form of judging, but like when someone comes into the church who doesn't dress according to the dress code, right? Like whether it's a woman or a girl with a shorter skirt, tighter clothes, whatever the case is, anything that's form fitting, right? Or shorter or tighter than what Christians are used to in their small circles for church, and they just like treat the person like they're not supposed to be there.
Yeah.
I'm like, that is the opposite of what you're supposed to do. If you're a greeter, greet. Do not shun. Like, your personal agenda, your personal opinion, your personal comfort zone is irrelevant. This place isn't about you, you know? Oh, this is really actually getting me upset. That's it. I'll stop there because I'm not trying to get mad. I just don't like that. Like, you're giving, like, why are you putting your personal agenda on people?
Yeah. And you're always going to find someone that will come to that person like, hey, thank you for coming. But next time that you come, please wear better.
Thank you for coming. But if you come back, you better get
Okay.
and let me take you to, what is it called? Fannie Mae's. No, what is the place called? I'm going to take you to Payless. I'm taking you to Walmart to get you some clothes. Like, Walmart? What is, I don't know. This Frugal Fannies. That's what it was. Like, no, man. Stop it. Yeah, so, your turn, right?
Yes. When I'll stay with the preacher or the sermon.
Yeah, go for it.
When the
I see you hate
preacher,
preachers. I love this.
no, it's just
I'm just kidding.
it's when I go to church, I want to learn something new.
Yes, me too.
And their preacher, with all my respect to them, whoever does that, that when they preaching, they just telling the story that is in the Bible, and they just narrating the story,
Instead of
teaching me something new about it.
like a different perspective or
Yeah.
a new nugget that we didn't know about.
Yeah, that made me feel like they didn't prepare, and they just like to preach at church in church. It would be good, to someone that I never heard about the Lord, or doesn't know anything about the story of the Bible. But don't come to me telling me the story of Adam and Eve, and just tell me narrate me the entire thing, and then at the end doesn't tell me something new. It's when I do something new. But anyway, that was not my thing. My thing is when the preacher
That was
do
not
the
thing.
when the preacher do the calling, and nobody get up. There's only one person in church that will go to the visitor, like, come with me, come.
People do that?
Well, that they do that in the Spanish churches.
Nah, that's
Yeah,
extra.
and they will go and like,
That is.
look, I will go with you. But yeah, let's go. And the person like, no, I don't want to go. Yeah, but come. The Lord is calling you right now. So
The
every time
Lord
that I
isn't
see
calling them. You are.
that, yeah, every time that I see that in Spanish churches, I'm like, they don't want to go.
I didn't know that was a thing.
Yeah, it is.
That's bonkers. Um, yeah, I don't know. I don't know if I have any more. I think we can stop there
Okay,
for now. There's
cool.
plenty more, but I'm like, do we share them all in episode one?
Yeah, no, I don't think so. I mean, if you know, please comment what exactly you don't like
Yo,
from church.
yes, whatever you don't like in
Yeah.
church, share it. So, also, quick disclaimer: I always forget to do this when I'm thinking about putting a great podcast together. This channel, this podcast, in the comment section is a holy space. So I don't want any haterade. If it doesn't pertain to the podcast where you're adding to the discussion, we don't want it, right? We don't want actual hate. You want your church experience. You want your comments, your point of view, your feedback, your ideas for things that you want us to talk about on the podcast, stuff like that. I want to build a good community where we can come together, and just vibe, bond, get to know each other through the internet. Because who knows who's going to reach this, or who's going to see it. So I want positivity, I want good energy, and I want learning, I want growth. And if you have questions, topics you want to talk about, want us to talk about, whatever. You think something's funny, let us know. If you like his glasses, let us know.
That's something that I forgot to say. I like unique stuff, like weird stuff online. Damn,
We call it unique stuff, not weird.
cool.
Okay, so
So
next,
I'm not weird. I'm unique.
100%, you're cool.
Yes.
You're cool and unique.
Weird.
All right, welcome to TikTok time. Here we go.
Greatest gospel verse in the Bible, 2 Corinthians 5:21. He made him who knew no sin for us, that we might be made the righteousness of God in him. Let me unpack those 15 Greek words. He, God, made Jesus sin. What do you mean he made Jesus sin? Only in one sense. He treated him as if he had committed every sin ever committed by every person who would ever believe, though in fact he committed none of them. Hanging on the cross, he was wholly harmless, undefiled. Hanging on the cross, he was a spotless lamb. He was never for a split second a sinner. He is holy God on the cross. But God is treating him, I'll put it more practically, as if he lived my life. God punished Jesus for my sin, turns right around and treats me as if I lived his life. That's the great doctrine of substitution, and on that doctrine turned the whole Reformation of the church. That is the heart of the gospel. And what you get is complete forgiveness, covered by the righteousness of Jesus Christ. When he looks at the cross, he sees you. When he looks at you, he sees Christ.
Cool.
Wow. I forgot what that was about. This was saved on April 18th. It is currently August, almost at July.
Yeah.
August 4th. Oh, man. Okay. Time flies so fast. Let us know in the comments what you think about that TikTok. But wow. So this, I think, is a great summary of the gospel. God treating us as he should treat Jesus, and treat Jesus as he should treat us. And people wonder why, man, that's bonkers. That's humbling.
Yeah.
Because it's like his love for us doesn't change because of what we do. Because what's interesting is, like, I know that I can at times love conditionally. Because it's easy to love someone when they're nice to you.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
And then when someone's just bothering you or annoying you or whatever the case is, you're like, I don't think I want to love you anymore.
Yeah. I love you, but I'm going to smack you around until I'm better. I'm not upset at you anymore. But
Yeah.
I still love you. Thanks God that he's not like that.
Yeah, and so this also goes along with that video, hopefully, that I put together, giving God a bad name. We as Christians don't do that. Like, treat each other with unconditional love. Like, whether it's family, whether it's church family, friends. What blows my mind sometimes is that I'll have friends who are not Christian at all, and they're some of the most kind, selfless, helpful people on the planet. I'm like, does this? But then I'll have some Christian friends who are the antithesis, the complete
Yeah.
opposite. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I have a friend like that too. I think there were angels that just are here as a human and trying to be in church, passing as a Christians. Bad angels. That's how I call them.
Call them demons.
Yes, I do.
Much better.
Yeah.
It's easier to know.
Hey, I'm gonna start mentioning them right now. I'm playing. I'm not gonna mention name.
Yo, you're tripping, bro. All right, TikTok number 2. Here we go.
God, please show me the right decision. Make it clear for me. Like, really clear. Kind of an idiot.
So, I think sometimes the Lord show us, stuff like that really clear, but we just want to see what we want, not what the Lord wants to show us.
I believe that's true. I also believe that we're idiots.
Yes.
And I think the irony with this, like, it's funny, but the truth of the matter is what you behold, you understand more easily. So if you're spending time doing things that don't pertain to God, you understand that better. So I am more of a student of the MCU, the Marvel Cinematic Universe, than I am of Scripture sometimes. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, I'll know how to play this game better than I know how to give a Bible study on this topic. Like, whatever you put your time in is what you understand. And it's easier for you to hear or learn from. And so this is why we're kind of idiots, because we choose to not spend time with the big man upstairs.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Yeah, that was a funny one. I like that.
I think when you are closer to the Lord, you will see more clear stuff that He want to show you.
100%. I think so. Like we a lot of Christians know that God starts off like in a still small voice for most people. We can't speak to all because God sometimes shows up in the most random ways. A burning bush, for instance. No one's gonna believe you. It was like, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So it was like he starts off like that, still small voice. And this is why meditation is important. This is why spending time meditating on Scripture, studying Scripture is important, because that's how we identify His voice, right? Saying it's not for you, but for them.
Yeah.
And then if they don't know, if they do know, then great. And then over time, as like with any relationship, you have inside jokes, there's chemistry, and like you can finish each other's
What?
sentences.
Oh, okay. I fell there.
You see, we don't hang out a lot, right?
That only happen in the family,
Man, he said, I was like, let's see if this works. No, it didn't.
It worked. I just I did it on purpose, just to make it laugh.
Yeah, okay, whatever, man. Well, I fell for it. It was good. I was thinking you're gonna say sandwiches, like Frozen. Did you ever watch Frozen?
The movie?
Yeah,
No.
it's a good movie. I haven't seen Frozen 2 though. Quick side note. Okay.
It's on Broadway now. Frozen 1 here in Boston.
Yeah.
Frozen, the Broadway show.
Yeah, I'm not a man of plays. I'm not a fan.
Oh, I love Broadway shows. So.
I will go sit through one, but I just know as I've aged that I will most likely fall asleep and I will snore and it will not be quiet.
There's one coming soon that I will invite you.
Let's take a chance.
The Book of Mormon.
Is it good? Or are you just making a joke here?
No, it's funny.
Oh, then maybe, okay, we'll see.
Funny.
Comedy, I like to go to stand-up comedy shows because obviously.
It disrespect the Lord.
Ooh, not sure if I like that.
But-
Not sure if I like that. Yeah, I'm probably not going to go to that. I'm not going to support that business at all. Guarantee you I won't.
If you're a Mormon, you watching this, no disrespect.
TikTok number 3.
Why is it when God wanted to create fish, He spoke to the sea? When God wanted to create trees, He spoke to the earth. When He wanted to create us, He spoke to Himself. What happens when you take a fish out of the sea? It dies. What happens when you take a tree out of soil? It dies. What happens when we become disconnected from God? We die. God is our natural environment. We were created to live in the presence of God. It is only in Him that life exists.
That was cool.
You agree? Disagree?
I agree. I mean, just to make it more clear doesn't mean that if you start following God, you're gonna die right away.
Yeah, it's not a literal
Yeah, it's
immediate
not.
death. I mean, just like when God said, "In the day that you eat of this fruit, you will surely die."
Hmm.
They didn't immediately die,
Yeah,
but this is what he meant.
yeah,
Like when you leave me, there's no life outside of me.
yeah.
And this is interesting because this goes along with my belief that there is a Jesus-sized puzzle piece gap that we all have, and like let's say every human being is a puzzle, and there's a Jesus-sized piece that is missing.
Yep.
And we try to put relationships in there, we try to put hobbies in there, we try to put them all together, we try to do whatever, jobs, success, money, whatever. We try to do that and replace God, but nothing fits that piece but Jesus.
No.
And everyone who's unhappy or has something missing in life knows something's missing, but not everyone knows it's Jesus, which puts Christians on blast for not being good, proclaimers of the gospel. And I think that's one of the reasons why this podcast exists.
Yeah.
Because I don't want to die not doing what I'm called to do. I just can't do it. I refuse to do it anymore.
I put it like this. I love doing jigsaw puzzles.
Same.
Yeah, when I see that there's one piece missing, it's worth it. It's not worth it.
What do you mean?
It's like, okay, I just, I lost my time doing this. I cannot find this piece. This is garbage.
You want to hear a true story?
Yeah.
Pandemic. It's 2020. Walking around in Walmart in a mask. I was the only one going shopping for like 2 years. Anyway, sorry. It's not the point. I just thought about it like, man, she didn't shop. She owes me. You owe me, wife. You know. I'm just kidding. Anyway, back to the story. So I come home with a puzzle. Empty out the puzzle on the table. Cleared off the dining room table. And we would just do the puzzle bit by bit over some days or weeks, depending on how large. We got a 500-piece puzzle. It was really beautiful. If I can find a picture of this, I'll put it on the screen. But if I can't, just use your imagination. It was a beautiful puzzle. I don't remember of where, but there was literally one piece missing. And I was heated. I couldn't believe it. I was like, we bought this thing. We opened it. We dumped it on the table. We checked that. And this is, I think, she was still pregnant, I think, because we didn't have any kids at this time. So no pieces could go missing.
Yeah.
Or eaten. Or whatever the case is.
And you guys have no pet.
Yeah, we have no pets, so it's just her and I in the house. And so we would put pieces together. And I have this phrase, and feel free to use it when you're doing a jigsaw puzzle. But it goes like this. Every time we start with the border, as with any sane person, right? You start with the border, and then you work your way in.
Well, I like starting with the middle, and then I'm playing.
I know. I was like, I said, you would never finish. So anyway, we do that. And then every time I would like find one that fits, I would be like, oh, boy. Every single time. My wife was like, and it wouldn't happen too often because, like, I'm looking for a piece. I'm not, like, the best at puzzles. I just started in 2020 because, like, at least more consistently. But anyway, we had one that was 1,000 pieces after that. That one was, like, of the Boston skyline. That joint was massive. And it was beautiful. But it was hard. But anyway, yeah, back to the story. We had a puzzle, 500 pieces. One piece was missing. And it came out of the factory like that. I was livid, as they say in the UK.
So I would always like a puzzle, when if that one piece that is Jesus or is missing in your life, then you are
Incomplete.
Yeah.
You're probably livid too. Yeah.
Especially when he comes back for us and he said, Rafi, how you doing? Come. And then he call Ollie out. Yeah. And don't call your name.
He's just going to call you, right?
Yeah.
And then he's like, no, I meant Ralphy.
Oh, okay.
No, he's like, I'm just playing all y'all.
Yeah.
And hopefully, God willing. Anyway, the point is, yeah, that's a good moral. Life without Jesus is really not it. Anywho, that's the end of TikTok time for today. We're going to transition over to the next topic, which is going to be the text of the day. We're going to be in Exodus chapter 14, starting with verse 1. Ready?
I am ready.
Pull it up real fast. All right, so I'll read one verse, you read one verse, unless it's like a really ridiculously short one, like Exodus chapter 14, verse 1 is. It's extremely short. It's like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 words. So I'm going to read 1 and 2, and then we'll go verse by verse after that. Sound good?
Sounds good.
Let's practice our reading voices, our radio voices, okay? Okay. For context, before we start reading this chapter, the children of Israel were slaves in Egypt, and then the 10 plagues happened, and then Pharaoh let them go, and now Pharaoh's like, nah, I'm getting them back. So now he's chased them to the edge of the Red Sea. And here we continue. We pick up the story in Exodus 14, verse 1, and it reads, Then the Lord said to Moses, Tell the people of Israel to turn back and encamp in front of Pi-hahiroth, between Midgal and the sea. In front of Baal-zephon, you shall encamp, facing it by the sea.
For Pharaoh will say of the people of Israel, they are wandering in the land, the wilderness has shut them in.
And I will harden Pharaoh's heart, and he will pursue them. And I will get glory over Pharaoh and all his hosts. And the Egyptians shall know that I am the Lord. And they did so. Pause.
Yes.
What do you think about this concept of God saying, I will harden Pharaoh's heart? What does it mean? What do you understand from that? Because I find this to be a fascinating thing that a lot of Christians misunderstand.
Yeah, I think the Lord was saying, I know this guy's going to do whatever, I command him to do. So I just want to
Hold on.
link.
Huh? Choose your words. Are you sure you want to say it like that?
What did I just say?
Man, if I could rewind life,
Just like baseball, like you go back.
that'd be good. But like you said that he would do whatever God commanded him to do.
No, I said that he will not. That the
Will
Lord
not.
knew that he will not do, what the Lord commanded him to do.
Mm-hmm.
So I guess the Lord said, I'm gonna let him. I'm not gonna make him, do what I want him to do. I'm just gonna give him free will, like he's giving us to decide. So I think it's like us. God give us two options to choose. Is we need to decide, which path we're gonna take. I think that's what that the Lord, for me, what I'm understanding, the Lord decided, I'm not gonna make him choose and let my people go that easy. I'm gonna let him be him.
So you're saying God's not going to force him to do
Exactly.
anything. He's going to let him just choose his
Because
own
God
path.
can force you.
Oh, yes. Because God is all powerful. He can do whatever
Yeah.
he wants.
Yeah.
But he chooses. So like so quick, trying to be short here. I studied theology and religion, so I have some background in this. And I used to be a preacher. He was a preacher, first elder, so we're both decently well-studied individuals. However, the only caveat is it's been a while for me. But what I can tell you, everything I tell you is what I surely remember. Okay, and so in this circumstance, God limits himself by saying God is love, because God is all powerful, but he chooses to limit himself by the bounds of love. So he doesn't do anything outside of the bounds of love,
Yeah.
because he self-limited himself. He's like, nope, not going to do anymore, just this. And so love doesn't force, like you don't force your wife to love you. It's just love is something that she gives you and you give her.
Mm-hmm.
It is a wonderful gift. And so this is what God does with us. He gives us his love because he chooses to. And so since he can't force Pharaoh to do anything or make his will be done through Pharaoh, so he's like, I will harden Pharaoh's heart. That language is saying, I'm going to do this, and my actions will harden Pharaoh's heart. Instead of like, I will do this and make his heart hard because I'm an evil and vindictive God, which is how people read it, which is not true. Because if God is love, how does that make sense? Okay. So Now that we've gotten that out of the way, we're on verse 4,
5.
5.
Yes.
Yes. It's your turn.
Yes. When the king of Egypt was told that the people had fled, the mind of Pharaoh and his servant was changed toward the people. And they say, "What is this we have done, that we had let Israel go from serving us?"
So he made them ready his chariot and took his army with him.
And took 600 chosen chariots and all the other chariots of Egypt, with officers over all of them.
And the Lord hardened the heart of And the Lord hardened the heart of Pharaoh, king of Egypt, and he pursued the people of Israel while the people of Israel were going out defiantly.
The Egyptian pursued them, all Pharaoh's horses and chariots, and his horsemen, and his army, and overtook them and camped at the sea by Pihahiroth, in front of Baal Zephon.
When Pharaoh drew near, the people of Israel lifted up their eyes, and behold, the Egyptians were marching after them, and they feared greatly. And the people of Israel cried out to the Lord.
They said to Moses, "Is it because there are no graves in Egypt that you have taken us away to die in the wilderness? What have you done to us in bringing us out of Egypt?"
Oh my gosh.
Mind you that they've been praying to the Lord for 300 something years to be free, and now they're free. That's not saying that.
Man, is it not what we said to you in Egypt? Leave us alone that we may serve the Egyptians, for it would have been better for us to serve the Egyptians than to die in the wilderness.
If I would have been Moses, I would have been like looking out or like,
Look, man, being a leader is hard. Imagine more than a stadium of people following you, multiple stadiums, because those only hold like thousands. This is like upwards of like about 2 million roughly. What? Were there not enough graves in Egypt? I'm like, the unchristian part of me is like, go die. Just go down there. Go ahead.
yeah.
But man, Moses. Okay, let's continue. I think it's your turn. 13.
Yes. And Moses said to the people, "Are you out of your mind?"
That's definitely.
Oh, that was to say that.
It's
Okay.
a remix version.
Yeah.
That's the RSB, the Rafi standard version.
So fear not, stand firm, and see the salvation of the Lord, which He will work for you today. For the Egyptian who you seen today, you shall never see again.
Yo, no lie. That is a gangster phrase.
Yeah.
You'll never see again. So, like, this generation of people were born in Egypt. All they know is Egypt. Their parents and their parents and their parents before that probably were the ones who got like brought over there, like 400 whatever years. So that's interesting. So then
And that's faith.
bro, what a faith statement, right?
Because he hasn't spoken to the Lord yet.
That's what I was about to say. I was like, oh.
It's like, you better do what I'm saying. You better do something. Because now the people, they're going to kill me here right now.
So let's see. Like, Moses was a shepherd for 40 years after he ran from Egypt. And he came back to lead the children of Israel, or God sent him to Egypt around 8 years old. He met Aaron in the wilderness. Aaron was 83. That's when they started this whole thing of let my people go. 83 and 80 years old. Right? And so at this time, he's older. Dealing with people who are always complaining. And so you can imagine the relationship that he has with God, right? He has to have some kind of... I don't know if he knew what God was going to do, but I don't think he had any doubt that God was going to save them.
Yeah. He did something that we don't do now.
And what is that?
Let me see if I can explain better. The Lord sent him to do something. He already knew the outcome.
Who knew the outcome?
Moses.
You think so?
Of course, because the Lord said him, go and rescue my people.
I mean,
It wouldn't be fair, for him to get his people, the Israelite, and then die over there. So he didn't allow the problem overshadow God's promise. And sometimes we let the problem take over the word of God. If God said, I'm going to save you, but you need to do this, or you need to trust me, sometimes we say, oh, now what am I going to do? Oh, I don't have money to pay for the rent. Or whatever.
food.
So, yeah.
I don't have a job. What am I gonna do?
Yeah,
Yeah.
sometimes we let the problem, like overshadow God's promise to
There's
us.
a way that I don't know if I've heard this somewhere or if I'm making this up right now. It's probably been said before, but we focus on the problem. We focus on the problem, but not the problem solver.
Yep.
And it's like, and the coolest part about this whole story is God already told him that he's going to set his people free. Like, go to Egypt and do this.
Mm-hmm.
Just like that. But imagine, how many years ago was that conversation?
Yeah.
Anyway, go ahead. Is it me or you?
It's you.
Verse 14, Exodus 14:14. The Lord, and this is, I want to assume this is Moses talking to the people still from 13.
Yeah.
The Lord will fight for you. You have only to be silent.
The Lord said to Moses, "Why do you cry to me?" But the Bible doesn't mention, that.
The conversation they had.
Yeah. Tell the people of Israel to go forward.
Lift up your staff and stretch out your hand over the sea and divide it. My brain would have been like, pardon? What? That the people of Israel may go through the sea on dry ground.
And I will harden the heart of the Egyptian, so that they should go in after them. And I will get glory over Pharaoh and all of his hosts, his chariots, and his horsemen. Can I pause there for a second?
Oh, yes.
Now that something that you mentioned, the way the Lord can harden someone's heart is by he doing what he's supposed to do and going against what I want to happen. Did I confuse you?
Yep.
Okay, like,
Break it down for me.
yeah, like if the God said right now, I'm going to turn this light off, and Rafi is gonna get upset because I'm turning the light off. I think that's one way for me to harm my heart, and like getting upset at the Lord, like, he's doing, the thing when I don't want him to do that.
Like us wanting to exercise our own will versus obeying his will.
Yeah, and then we harden our heart because God is doing what he's
Said he was going to do.
exactly, but we don't want him to do that. We want him to do what we want. Pharaoh, he wanted to get the people back, but the Lord was doing, whatever he can to free his people.
Yeah, so it seems like there's pride involved here and
Yeah.
ego. Because the king, being a king, no one tells you no.
Yeah, I think
No one.
Yeah, when God said, for me, I could be wrong. When God said, "I'm gonna harden," his heart is like, "I'm gonna do my will, not whatever He wants."
I mean, God's not going to bend to other people's wills. Not to his creation.
Well,
Not if it goes against his will.
yeah,
I'm sure that, because God does bend to Moses' will later on.
yeah, because
In Exodus
He wanted to
32.
destroy people. Most people were like,
Yeah, Exodus 32 is an interesting chapter. Maybe we'll go over that one time so we can see God's humanity.
Yeah.
Because we're made in his image, so God getting mad makes perfect sense. It's like, oh, yeah, I mean, yeah, that tracks. Who, you, me?
You.
Okay, verse 18. And the Egyptians shall know that I am the Lord, when I have gotten glory over Pharaoh, his chariots, and his horsemen. Okay, note that it says, this is the Lord speaking, right?
Mm-hmm.
When does the Lord start speaking? The Lord said to Moses, Exodus 15. The Lord's speaking, and I was in verse 18. Yeah, he says, I'm going to get glory over Pharaoh. So Pharaoh is included in this. I was doing a Bible study one time, and one of my friends was playing devil's advocate. And I was like, the Pharaoh dies. And people were like, no, it's not true. And I was like, well, the text says so. But then they're like, no, and I was getting annoyed. And then I hope they watch this too so they can know. Because then we can talk about it in the comments.
Or they watch the movie that the Pharaoh doesn't die.
I mean, the Prince of Egypt skews that part so much because he's pushed back out of the water and he survives.
Yeah.
God says, I'm going to get glory over him, a.k.a. murder, murder, murder.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, 19 is you.
Yeah, then the angel of God who was going before the hosts of Israel moved and went behind them, and the pillar of cloud moved from before them and stood behind them.
Coming between the host of Egypt and the host of Israel, and there was a cloud of darkness. There was a cloud and the darkness, and it lit up the night without the one coming near the other all night.
Then Mr. Moses stretched out his hand over the sea, and the Lord drove the sea back by the strong east wind all night, and made the sea dry land, and the waters were divided.
And the people of Israel went into the midst of the sea on dry ground, the waters being a wall to them on their right hand and on their left.
The Egyptian pursued and went in after them in the midst of the sea, all Pharaoh's horses, his chariots, and his horsemen.
And in the morning watch, the Lord in the pillar of fire and of cloud. I can't read. Let's try this one more time. And in the morning watch, the Lord in the pillar of fire and of cloud looked down on the Egyptian forces and threw the Egyptian forces into a panic.
Clogging their chariots' wheel, so that they drove heavily. And the Egyptians said, "Let us flee from before Israel, for the Lord fight for them against the Egyptians."
That was the moment they knew
Mm-hmm.
they effed up.
Yeah. Like
You know that meme?
Yeah.
Yo, can you imagine the fear? Okay, so picture everyone like watching. Use your imagination here. They're trapped. Their enemies are behind them. It's pitch black because there's no streetlights out there. Only fire, like if they have torches or the pillar of fire, is the only light. And the pillar of fire gave light and heat to the Israelites and darkness to the Egyptians. It's the whole night, and no one came in between. Like there was just like God was a barrier, a literal protection between the enemy and his kids. But anyway, then the sea Moses lifts up his hand. The sea divides, and then there's a wall of water, and a path, a dry ground in the ocean. None of this makes sense.
Nope.
But this is how God shows you, with the little bit of science, that you can't get dry ground in the ocean. So he goes, I'm going to show you who I am. And so,
It's a miracle.
a literal miracle, walls of water. And you know, when you watch this on The Prince of Egypt and through like Charlton Heston, the Ten Commandments, like the old school movie, that's like on two VHS discs.
Yeah.
CD, like that joint is like 6 hours or 3 hour and a half, 3 hours long, really long. Point is, like, you can use your imagination. Like, there's probably thunder and lightning, and then you see like a big whale. Like your imagination can see all that stuff. And I'm sitting here like, imagine what that must have felt like walking through there. And then,
Remember, they also the fear.
that's what I was going to say. And then they turn around, and the ops.
Yeah, because it said here, like, I think verse 20. And it lit up the night, so they were walking the whole night. It's not like it took like 5 minutes to just cross.
We don't know. Yeah, it was a while. It wasn't short.
Yeah, because in verse says it lit up the night, so I mean it was night, and then what you just read, was it the
25, I think it was. The morning watch.
Yeah, then it said something in the morning watch, meaning already that the sun was
24.
coming up.
And I want to Google this because I remember this as being around 3 a.m. for some reason.
It's funny at the beginning it was the Israelite who was like afraid and scared, and now everything turned around.
Flipped.
Yeah.
Gotta flip the script. Yeah, I'm not gonna trust this.
Okay.
But anyway, the point is, middle of the night type stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So, Okay. We're at verse 26, and it's me.
Yes.
Alrighty. It reads, Then the Lord said to Moses, oh, yeah, that's right. Then the Lord said to, I was like, wait a minute. Then the Lord said to Moses, Stretch out your hand over the sea, that the water may come back upon the Egyptians, upon their chariots, and upon their horsemen.
That's obedience there, because the Lord just could have close it.
I love how he keeps Moses engaged in this act.
Yeah.
Because God doesn't need us to do anything.
Nope. So Moses stretched out his hand over the sea, and the sea returned to its normal course when the morning appeared. And as the Egyptian fled into it, the Lord threw the Egyptian into the midst of the sea.
Terrifying.
Yep.
The waters returned and covered the chariots and the horsemen. Of all the host of Pharaoh that had followed them into the sea, not one of them remained.
But the people of Israel walked on dry ground through the sea, the waters being a wall to them to the right hand and on their left.
Thus the Lord saved Israel that day from the hand of the Egyptians. And Israel saw the Egyptians dead on the seashore. Dang.
Israel saw the great power that the Lord used against the Egyptians, so the people feared the Lord, and they believed in the Lord and in his servant Moses.
Okay, so I'm understanding a little bit more that God used this opportunity for the people, and he kept Moses engaged the whole time as his, I guess, mouthpiece / action figure.
Yeah.
So that
it's
people,
like going to be his right hand over there.
literally, so the people would believe. Because if they weren't set free by the hand of God through Moses, they wouldn't have followed both of them. Like they wouldn't have followed Moses, who was following God. You know?
Yep.
Wow, what a story. So the question for you have any thoughts before?
No.
So the question for all of you today is, what can you grasp from this story that you can apply to your personal life? What kind of God do you serve, if you believe? And if you don't believe, I'm happy to talk in the comments. I'm sure Rafi will be happy to talk in the comments as well. But what can you learn from this experience, from this story, from this whole podcast about God, and how can you apply it to your life? And second, if you learned something new, let us know in the comments below, because I love to, oh my gosh. I love to learn. I gotta find a new place. I use my hands. This is gonna be difficult. I love to learn. And so, if you learn something, please let me know down below. Let us know. I'm excited to see it. But yeah, any other thoughts before we close?
Not really. I think you said it all.
Just me? I said it all, really?
Well, but you mentioned that, and yeah, no, just let us know exactly what you learned something new. We are not expert. We're here to learn.
Correct. We're learning as well,
Yeah,
for sure.
So you might have something or know something that we don't know that we missed from this story.
Yeah. All opinions are welcome. Theologians, if you're a theologian and you actually are one, let us know. We don't want people claiming to be something they're not in the comments. Please. We just want to have a good time talking about God, vibing, learning, and educating one another and learning from one another. That is it. Anyway.
Yep.
Thank you for watching. I'm Ralphy.
Hey, I'm Rafi.
And we out. You always gotta do stuff like that. This guy's